12 फरवरी हो गई है. अडानी स्टॉक इज ऑलरेडी ऑन अ नोज डाइव बिकॉज ऑफ द हिंडनबर्ग रिपोर्ट. और स्मार्ट वकील आज के टाइम पे देख रहा है कि कैसे वो आईपीआर, सॉरी नॉट आईपीआर, कैसे वो आईबीसी और बाकी प्रोविजंस को यूज़ करके आने वाले इवेंचुअल टुमारो जब शायद अडानी बैंकरप्ट हो जाएगा उसके लिए तैयारियां कर रहा होगा. स्मार्टेस्ट वकील इस पॉडकास्ट पे आए हुए हैं बताने के लिए कि स्मार्ट वकीलों को क्या करना चाहिए. वी हैव ऑन द पैनल प्रेम मार्दी, straight up from Jharkhand, having practiced in two states. Hi. And we have Shivankar Sharma finally back for another podcast. Hopefully, not taking pot shots at us today. Shivankar, you've had a very great experience having passed out from Nalsar, one of the premier institutions in the country. Then also, now you're a barrister with a certificate of practice ready, which you can use while practicing in London.
So that's a solicitor, yes. But I'd like to correct you. If you don't practice, you get a non-practicing thing. It's nomenclature. But yeah, yeah.
So you're a certified solicitor.
Yeah, yeah.
And then again, your experience as as a professor, working at various universities.
Visiting professor, yes.
Yeah,
I've had a very different trajectory in terms of litigation. So yeah.
So I think that all three of us sitting over here have had like a very diverse set of experience in terms of wanting to further our litigation agendas. क्योंकि प्यार वहीं पे है कोर्ट के अंदर जब खड़े होके आगे करते हैं. एंड सपने भी आई एम श्योर लाइक इट्स द सेम थिंग. वही 12-15 लाख रुपए की अपेयरेंस होनी हो, दिन में 5 हो, एंड घर आके आराम से वी कैन सिप ऑन आवर विस्की, स्मोक आवर cigars and look at the stars and say, oh, it was a nice day, let's maybe look at it tomorrow.
Prem, would you agree that's the end?
Sure, like, since my law schools, I was dreaming about it.
ये बट 12 लाख का जो सपना है, लेट्स
Per appearance.
हाँ पर अपेयरेंस, लेट्स ब्रेक इट डाउन टू टुडे.
Do you know, like in Jharkhand, what is the highest market rate for per appearance? Even these senior advocate charges, as of now, it's going around 55,000. So, like, I don't know, like how I am going to dream about this 12 lakhs per charging my clients like per appearance. I think from Jharkhand to Delhi, it's a long gap.
Prem, I think the answer is simple.
Either I have to go to Delhi then.
Or Delhi must come to you.
So what are you earning nowadays?
Oh, my earning. See, my days, like my it's a very modest amount. What the highest is what they're charging. I'm on like 50 to 40% of it right now.
Okay.
So, and since my practice is 4 years of practice ho gaya hai, so it's still like, see, Jharkhand mein you can see our clients are very low paying clients. So my practice is basically criminal and civil. So hote kya hai ki unka their bail get rejected, or you have to file quashing, writ you need to file. So kind of this my practice is.
हाँ बट लाइक
Not a very fancy, like
क्वांटिफाइबल बेसिक फिगर जो महीने का चल रहा हो आजकल.
see that is the thing. एक चीज understand करना, you should understand this thing कि what instead of setting a particular fees, it's take time because it's up to the clients as well. And sometimes, see, I really want to set up fees कि my per appearance is this, filing is this, but it's not very easy. Because जब आप अच्छे clients देखते हो, then you want to make as much as money you want.
Clearly.
But जब कोई गरीब भी आता है तो you have to flexible. But still you need to get paid for that your work.
Yeah.
So
I agree, which is why I said, Prem, earlier, either you come to Delhi or Delhi comes to you. For example, अगर कोई client दिल्ली से आता है और आपको for whatever reason, civil or criminal, आपका obviously fee schedule और fee rate उसके लिए अलग होगा, और उस महीने में आपको ज़्यादा सैलरी है, ज़्यादा पैसे आप उस दिन कमाओगे, वर्सेस जब आप फॉर एग्जांपल 10 अंडर ट्रायल्स जो बिलो पॉवर्टी लाइन है उनको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हो उस महीने में, तो फिगर अलग होगा. तो आई अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन यू से कि
ओके देन Prem, clearly you have not answered the question. कि इतना आ रहा है.
I don't think anybody has a fixed schedule. Like, see, everybody wants to make as
okay,
much
so
as they want.
let's draw the line that what is a good month for you and what is a bad month for you.
When the all courts are running without strikes, when judges are functioning.
हाँ but like how much are we making, like quantify करके, अगर महीने में इतना आ गया तो that's a good month and इतना आ गया तो it's a bad month.
The best month would be if I make like 50k or 60k. That is the good thing. but sometimes I even make less as well.
Okay. And what about you, Shivankar?
Oh, me? What do you want to know? My best or my worst? I can start with the worst.
Yeah, please.
So I think this was I have been about doing my practice for about 1.5 years, and this was I think in July of COVID का जब time था, July जब हमारा first wave आया था, sorry second wave आया था. I drafted a legal notice जिसके लिए मेरे को 7,000 रुपए मिले थे for eviction of a tenant from a flat in गुड़गांव, and literally मैंने पूरे महीने वही काम करा था, तो मेरी पूरे महीने की सैलरी उस महीने 7,000 रुपए थी. बाकी मैंने काम काफ़ी करा था, सो दैट वाज आई थिंक आई कीप टैब, मोटा मोटा रखना पड़ता है आपको क्वार्टर टू क्वार्टर, महीने टू महीना.
Yeah.
सो लुकिंग बैक मैं अपना देख रहा था अभी लेजर, आई थिंक दैट वाज बाय फार द लीस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ मनी आई एवर मेड फॉर वर्क विच आई डिड एक महीने में. मतलब
Only
कभी
one
कभी
legal notice in a month.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी. तो कभी कभी क्या होता है, पहले का काम करा है और आपकी फीस आपको बाद में मिलती है. सो हाउ डू यू अकाउंट फॉर दैट? यू अकाउंट फॉर दैट जिस महीने काम करा आपने या जिस महीने आपने रिकवरी करी है फीस की. आई मीन इन टर्म्स ऑफ दोनों चीज़ों को मिला के.
See, one thing we must make sure कि see, first thing जितना भी आप whatever amount you make sure that see your office needs, your juniors fees, all should be covered. So that amount you every month you have to make.
हाँ जी.
तो वो तो if you have a set of like you need to make that much of amount, that is the required
I
amount.
agree. And for me
And
that
if,
amount.
एक headache भी होता है कि if I don't able to make the next amount, कैसे आएगा client से if client उतना नहीं आ रहा income. So that is also a
एंग्जाइटी, आई कॉल इट
हाँ.
द इनकम एंग्जाइटी. मेरे करियर के जो शुरू के 6 महीने थे वो इनकम एंग्जाइटी में ही बीते, क्योंकि मैं काम तो कर रहा था बट मेरे को अगला कब आएगा, कैसे आएगा,
हाँ,
कौन
अगला
रेफर
आएगा.
करेगा, उतनी उसकी एंग्जाइटी थी कि मैं अपने काम को फुल्ली एग्जीक्यूट ही नहीं कर पा रहा था किसी चीज
And
को
what's a
लेके.
good month for you then?
Oh, we are back.
Good man.
So I've had good months, but I will say that मैंने दो actually it helps because यही हमारी और आपकी और मेरी practice में सबसे बड़ा अंतर है प्रेम. Because I am let's say in Gurgaon, which is the hub of a lot of corporates and a lot of other startups. तो अगर मेरे को कोई corporate एक retainer पे रख लेता है, for example, then I can charge anywhere between 40 to 60,000 depending on कितना उनका contract का काम है, कितना उनका regular corporate का काम है. क्योंकि मेरे पास 3.5 साल corporate experience भी रहा है. I have done 3.5 years in a firm.
Right.
So I can balance the two. So उससे क्या होता है कि मैं अपने corporate की जो recovery या retainers होते हैं, अगर मेरे पास example 2 retainer हैं 40,000 each, 2 corporates, तो मैं अपनी litigation practice को subsidize कर सकता हूँ.
Yes.
तो मतलब मेरा जो मनी मेकिंग है वो लिटिगेशन में नहीं है, बिकॉज लिटिगेशन एज काफ़ी सीनियर एडवोकेट्स काफ़ी कहते हैं और बहुत सारे और लोग भी कहते हैं, नॉट जस्ट एडवोकेट्स बट अदर्स, की इट इन द बिगिनिंग टेक्स मोर देन इट गिव्स. सो ये एक ऐसा पिगी बैंक है जिसमें आप सिक्के डालते रहो, सिक्के डालते रहो, सिक्के डालते रहो, एक दिन जाके फूटेगा, फटेगा, बट आपको ये नहीं पता कब और कैसे वो दिन आएगा. सो इन द बिगिनिंग आप डालते रहिए. सो फॉर मी दिस इज माई गुड मंथ इज, अगर मैं फॉर एग्जाम्पल 80,000 to 1 लाख अगर मेरे को मेरे दोनों क्लाइंट्स टाइम से रिटेनरशिप अमाउंट इनवॉइस रेज करने पे कायदे से दे देते हैं, आई वुड कंसिडर इट ए गुड मंथ. इसमें ऑब्वियसली फिर आई हैव एक्सपेंडेबल्स सच एज ड्राइवर कॉस्ट्स, कार कॉस्ट्स, रेंटल्स, home rentals, office rentals. So this is just the revenue in terms of that.
Yeah, so you said that anywhere between 80,000 to 1 lakh, provided you get all your fees, all your invoices that are raised are honored, and everything
Without
is done.
due reminders, gentle reminders, please देख लीजिए, पिछली बारी भी बोला था.
So how does it feel like, you know, having corporate experience, and then eventually if you continued over there, you would have definitely been making more right now, assuming the fact that you were promoted and principal associate and all these things were in order, maybe partners and everything. And sure, that would have taken 18 hours of your bandwidth, 18 घंटे office में बैठना होता. Do you feel comfortable having your own independent practice so that you have more control on your life, or do you feel no, maybe there was an error made somewhere along the way?
No. I don't regret quitting the corporate life one bit. Sorry, I don't regret quitting the corporate life one bit. Definitely, I am the kind of person, it depends person to person. I like to have control over my life rather than my life have control over me. तो मेरे लिए ये important था कि मैं अपने time को segment कर सकूँ depending on how I want to do things, when I want to do things and how I want to do them. In a corporate setup, because you are a small cog in a bigger machinery, you never have that independence. So I did not quit the corporate life because of really any partner or work issue. I quit it because I saw myself operating as a independent machinery rather than a small cog in a big machinery. Having said that, I want to know from Prem कि झारखंड में you said that you practice civil law and criminal law.
Yeah.
Now most of the lawyers who I know in Delhi only practice one of the two. For example, either I know a lot of civil lawyers or criminal lawyers, or some people who even do special, let's say, divorce. कोई हमारे यहाँ हाई कोर्ट में सिर्फ आर्बिट्रेशन का काम
See,
करते
I
हैं.
just want to make sure that, see, you, as a lawyer, we don't choose this. Ki we want to do civil or we want to do criminal.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
It's how you starting client start and how you build your brand. Initially, you know, if you by your networks, you are getting a criminal practice. So धीरे you yourself will become a criminal practice. It's not your choice. Although, you know, all you want to do is, you know, writ a good writ. You want to file a good appeal, but see, it's your clients who makes your brand. It's not, see, अगर मेरे को arbitration आने लग गया or some advisory, so धीरे one arbitration I do, there's another person who can, oh, that one was good, so he will refer my name, and धीरे और आने लगे. So by the whole way, in a month I will see the 4-5 clients I'm getting for arbitration. Obviously I will learning more of arbitration. I'll know the tricks कि यहाँ पे क्या चीज़ है, इस petition में क्या होना चाहिए था, what is the lacuna in that case. So I'll be growing myself in that way. So we don't select or ये एक किस्मत होता है. So it's like this. I can't control it. Like even I really wanted to be a criminal, but धीरे I'm getting a good civil cases. So it's not in my hand. It's how एक अच्छा करो and you will get a next case. इसको अच्छा करो, you will get a next case. So I don't
Your
think we
clients
select.
is what build
Yeah,
what dictate
how
rather
your
than
name gets circulated. Okay.
But it's very unique because I think only in Delhi and maybe other metropolitan cities जहाँ specialist exist करते हैं, I feel most of the जो आपका market है lawyers का वो segmentized नहीं है, at least in the first 10 years.
Even if you want to start खुद से start करना, let's say you want to start कि चलो आज मैं सर के यहाँ काम कर रहा था अपने सीनियर के, and then you left it. So you can't select कि okay I focus on tax practice.
हाँ जी.
आपके पास clients नहीं है, you can't start a tax practice right now.
but at the same point in time I think anybody who wishes to, you know, like really ensure कि वो अपने interest आगे लेके जा रहे हैं, they will engineer their life to the point कि वो एक तरीके से एक particular set of cases ले रहे हैं, एक टाइप ऑफ ऑफिस में जाके जूनियर बन के स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं और उसी तरीके का सीनियर पकड़ रहे हैं एंड अकॉर्डिंगली
नहीं होता
होता नहीं है बट
in Delhi I was practicing whole of this, you know, IBC I was doing this, insolvency I was in practicing. फिर वहाँ से when I came back in Jharkhand, that 4 years was of no use. I started from a quashing petition, 482 petition. I had no clue कि कैसा होता था because I had no practice. दिल्ली में कोई
तो झारखंड में IBC प्रैक्टिस नहीं होता है या
there are only 11 NCLT benches in the country.
Correct. हाँ, वहाँ NCLT benches नहीं है. So
but I'm sure jurisdiction वहाँ के केसेस की कहीं ना कहीं
NCLT की बत्ती है आपकी IBC की jurisdiction.
NCLT कोलकाता.
हाँ अच्छा कोलकाता
so अगर आपका झारखंड में कोई incorporated कंपनी है और उसमें कुछ अगर घपला हुआ तो आपको कलकत्ता
जाना पड़ेगा,
आपको फिर वहाँ एजिटेट करना पड़ेगा.
जुरिडिक्शन आई मीन बहुत ट्राइब्यूनल्स कम है वहाँ पे.
तो मतलब जियोग्राफिकल लिमिटेशंस तो है ही प्रेम. मैं समझता हूँ कि आप अगर मतलब जिस जगह में भी हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल कलकत्ता में लॉयर हैं,
but then accordingly you know Shivankar, like that to learn IBC and then move back to Jharkhand, and no offense, move back to Jharkhand to further your practice of IBC is again a bad move in the first place क्योंकि वहाँ पे NCLT bench ही नहीं है.
फॉर एग्जांपल प्रेम I mean
see it's not about that. वहाँ पे why I'm practicing. If I join a senior, I am not join what practices. I just wanted कि मुझे अच्छा यहाँ payment मिले. That's the first thing.
Right.
See, I was in my second year of practice. Whichever office, whatever their practices, मैं पूछूंगा कि sir ultimately when you interview sir how much you will pay me. So मैं payment पे जाऊँगा ना, like whatever they practice. They send me a consumer code, I'll go to consumer court. They send me a high court, I'll go to the high court.
I mean that is usually
in the beginning. I mean प्रेम मैं समझ रहा हूँ जैसे कि आपने बोला कि शुरू में आपके पास ऑप्शन नहीं होता, बट आई थिंक जब 5-6 साल 8 साल जैसे कि मेरे को अब होने वाले हैं 9 साल हो जाते हैं प्रोफेशन में, देन यू कैन अफोर्ड टू बी अ लिटिल मोर पिकी कि यहाँ नहीं जाना वहाँ नहीं जाना.
राइट.
पर वो जैसे कि शुरू के in the beginning few years I would say it's very difficult to have a pick and choose philosophy. So geographical limitations I feel definitely makes a big difference in how your kind of practice unfolds and develops. Definitely मुझे इस बात पे याद आ रही है ब्रूनो लोटोर की. you know he has this theory called the actor network theory. आपने नेटवर्क का बोला शुरू में कि आपको किक स्टार्ट करने के लिए अब आपने 2 साल 3 साल 4 साल 5 साल आपने कर लिए सीनियर के साथ, आपको थोड़ा बहुत आने लगा है और आपको लगता है कि यू कैन डू थिंग्स ऑन योर ओन. I feel in the beginning what makes a big difference is the network that you possess. And इस network आप मतलब it can be the lawyer network, it can be your neighbor network, your school network, your immediate family network, and any network really that helps you to put yourself forward. What I really find really sad is that the things they do not tell you at law school is कि आपको शुरू में आप जब independent हुए हो आपको करनी है sales.
To sales of your service.
Sales of your service. And this is something that I wish I was taught, I was told by someone in the law school, because sales is actually not even a legal subject. It's not even a technical subject. It's a managerial subject. It is a absolute behavioral subject. And sales करने के लिए आपको चाहिए MBA की degree.
Not a degree. Not a degree.
Degree भी नहीं चाहिए, तो at least you need to be mindful about the fact that someday all these skills, you being a part of a community, you having that interaction with that budding entrepreneur, or you
Qualification never is never a criteria to do a act. Like if you want to sell something, you
As a first
you
generation
need to
person.
see things, how the selling is done. You need to learn from your seniors how he's justifying to your clients कि हाँ, oh I am making this writ petition, इसमें इतना खर्चा होगा, so I'll be charging this, and how he justifies इसमें इतना खर्चा लगेगा.
वो तो बात की बात है जब रिट पिटिशन आ गई, but the whole point about a lawyer's office, right from a lawyer's journey, from the point of all of us have been juniors at some point of time and reporting to seniors, and that is not exactly वकालत जो हम करते हैं. That is more like मजदूरी जो चल रही होती है in the name of all that, be it for 20,000 to 10,000 to whatever money that anybody might be getting, to the point now that you're independent and you have to fend for yourself by becoming a point of influx of clients, and how to get those clients, like you said, that you have to possess that network, you have to be...
You have to trigger the network. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ बस आपका जो नेटवर्क जो आप जियोग्राफी आपको परमिट करती है, और जो आपका इमीडिएट नेटवर्क हमेशा आपकी जियोग्राफी से डिपेंडेंट होता है. When you're kick-starting your legal career, your immediate network will be people around you, और आपके people वही around होंगे जहाँ आप शहर में हैं.
So
ultimately
clearly law school fails at it by not telling us jack about what it will be like जब हम independent practice शुरू करेंगे, and neither do our seniors tell us. It's mostly what we learn along the way when we are sitting in court observing client and lawyer meeting.
One of the important thing, law schools में we get teachings from by who are not even a litigating. See, they are not legal practitioners. They are something they want a fixed job जहाँ पे they get a salary. So that's the reason.
Prem has made a sensational claim just so far.
and
Law
they are
teachers
not
are
even
failed
paid well. Teachers are not being paid well in the law schools, private law schools, national law schools. They are in contractual, and they are not the one who has their success in the laws, in the litigation practice. They are unsuccessful one who are teaching the law and then telling them to become a big lawyers. And obviously we the whole thing is system is fucked up. Like how they will tell you to
Well, I'm sure not all of them are fucked up, because we have had great people like Shamnath has been there. Then we have had people like Madhav Menon and other people who have clearly set a benchmark, and they have established that practicing law is not just about in courts but also in front of students, etc.
Yeah. So
While majority of the law school teachers might be clearly not doing well, and I'm sorry, but my law school teachers do watch this podcast.
No, I'm sorry. I beg to differ over here. There is one thing that at least my Nalsar degree gave me was, I wouldn't say 100% great teachers, but I would say majority of the people who taught me were earnest. They were in it for the love of the subject, चाहे वो academy की क्यों ना हो, चाहे उनका रुचि एकदम purely book से हो और practice से ना हो. So I did learn a lot of theoretical lessons at law schools, and उसके बाद जब मैं Cambridge गया अपनी LLM degree के लिए, तो फिर definitely जो House of Lords के decisions में justified और quoted academicians हैं, उनसे पढ़ना, that was definitely, these guys are not doing it because they have failed. I'm not saying, even though काफी सारे लोग हैं ऐसे प्रेम, I'm not denying that. But there are people who are in it for the love of academics, for the love of the subject, and for the love of teaching.
Very few.
I still think that we don't have the right to blame our failures on our teachers, because every teacher, irrespective of whatever they did in classes, had our best interests in mind. Sure, they were taking a salary of 50,000, 60,000, or whatever they were taking, but they always were ensuring that they are putting out their best in front of the class, be it a PPT, be it that 2-minute conversation outside the class where they were trying to counsel a student.
They were only concentrating that how we score well. We should come on class. There should be a good attendance. That's it. We have learned.
Because when they see students who are not even disciplined to the point कि वो class में नहीं पहुंच रहे हैं, to expect कि ये बच्चा academics में अच्छा perform करेगा is a very big target altogether. I mean, in the first place, पहले उस बच्चे को इतना बना दो कि वो शायद रोज क्लास में आ जाए, उसका इंटरेस्ट जाग जाए. So establish a personal relationship and things like that. I'm sure, Shivankar, you've had a lot of experience with things like that, and I've never really. Now I look at teachers from that very microscope, that a teacher's play is very crucial, and they play an instrumental role in a child who's like from 18 to 22 in law school. The number of things that are running inside a teacher's mind towards any specific students are countless. Like, it's not the case that they are bad teachers. Sure, they might be academically not giving you the best material out there, or they might not be telling you कि सबसे ज़्यादा detailed judgment इसमें मिलेगी. But it's not their job. It's your job ultimately to read those things.
There is self-learning involved, I'll definitely say that. And unfortunately, what I find amiss amongst the younger students, at least law students who are coming in, is that the ability to read and grasp concepts is going down like drastically. So for example, अगर मैं एक reading देता था, हमें जब हमारी professors like Professor Dhanda और Professor Vidyalata एक reading देती थी, that reading was maybe 200 पेज की 200 pages की judgment, and you have to read it to know everything. और research article जो 80 पेज में आपका दिमाग ऐसा घुमा देगा कि आपको माइग्रेन लेके फिर सोना पड़ेगा उसके बाद, to kind of like undo the damage जो आपने सहा है. Whereas और मैं 30 पेज का PDF अपनी क्लास के साथ शेयर करता हूँ एज ए विजिटिंग प्रोफेसर. मैं कहता हूँ कि बच्चों प्लीज़ इसको पढ़ के आना, तो मेरे को लोग बताऊँ क्या कहते हैं कि सर हम पढ़ तो नहीं पाए पर हमने वीडियो देख ली इसकी. तो मतलब रीडिंग इज रीडिंग, राइट? एंड इफ यू डोंट पुट द एफर्ट, व्हाई विल आई पुट द एफर्ट इन एक्सप्लेनिंग व्हाट द कॉन्सेप्ट इज? अल्टीमेटली द वे आई लुक एट इट, लॉयर्स के खाली 3 स्किल्स हैं, राइट? फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट इज योर इंपॉर्टेंट स्किल टू रीड. You should be able to read complex texts and distill it in a easily and easy to understand form, so that even a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old can understand what the text is about.
Eye for detail. Like, yeah.
No, eye for detail. It's more like grasping the entire concept and putting it as simply as possible. कि एक केशवनंदा भारती अगर आप 5 साल के बच्चे को समझा सकते हो, then I think you beat नानी पालकी वाला in terms of your skills as a lawyer. But नहीं कर सकते हो क्योंकि कौन
मुद्दे की बात, जिसे मैं हिंदी में कहता हूँ हमेशा कोर्ट में, मुद्दे की बात क्या है? So right, to read a text and to be able to distill the मुद्दे की बात, that is definitely a complex text. अब पढ़िए, बहुत complex judgments हमारी especially Supreme Court की judgments तो इतनी ज़्यादा complex हो गई हैं कि अब only God can save us.
So
Secondly, sorry, secondly is the ability to be able to then write what the complex things is, applying the facts of your case. So आपने पढ़ लिया उसको, आपने उसको प्रोसेस कर लिया, आपने मुद्दे की बात आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया, बट हाउ डू यू अप्लाई दैट टू द फैक्ट सिनेरियो विच यू आर डीलिंग विद, एंड हाउ डू यू डू इट इन रिटन फॉर्म, राइट? That is the second most important quality which I will say that any law aspirant, any law student or any budding lawyer needs to improve upon and work on every single day. And thirdly, which is the last and जो सबसे पहले लोग काउंट करते हैं, but as per me it is the least important, और जो एकदम लास्ट थर्ड ईयर पे आती है, is the ability to speak and to be able to present that case, to be able to make a convincing case to a reasonable human being, to a judge जो आपके सामने बैठा है, और उसको आप समझा सको कि you need to view it in this angle, and what I'm saying is true because of this authority or this. That ability to speak and convince is definitely the third skill which I find is what you require as a lawyer, and law schools suffer on all 3 counts.
And one other point, see, right now law schools are charging a lot of huge tuition fee. I think right now its total cost is coming around 15 to 25, 20 lakhs. National law schools maybe so it's like 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs per annum.
2 से 2.5 का
is it
benefit
worth
है.
it, like investing so much amount? It's like a 10 lakhs amount you have. And now and if you have a really dream ki nahi, I want to go in the litigation, I want to be a big shot lawyers, is that, you know, putting all that 10 lakhs into
I think it's
going
worth
in a
it.
national law schools and private law school? Instead I would prefer go to some school law schools where, you know, a less investment, thoda around 5 to 6 lakhs is fine, you know, but 15 to 20 lakhs you are putting, and then what pressure we are pushing is ki jaise once you invested 20 lakhs, now this young lawyers who will getting enrolled, putting their another, they have to make an investment in bar council enrollment, association enrollment. So and when they came and they say ki yaar yahan pe seniors to dete hi nahi. Delhi it's fine, they are paying a substantial thoda sa de rahe surviving amount, that is around 10,000 minimum I am expecting. Then 10,000
10 से तो ज़्यादा है.
मैंने 2,500 पे
district
शुरू
court
किया था.
so but in and Jharkhand में you don't get paid at all. पैसा ही नहीं है, they don't pay. Now what situation, like they will be under a very different situation, like उनके parents ने पूरा invest कर दिया पैसा, national law school से पढ़ा दिया, and you are like कि अब क्या करें, and they will be seeing that another comparing who have done engineering or in other fields, they would be getting at least a basic more than
दैट्स बिकॉज इतिहास गवाह है कि पैसा कमाने के लिए अगर कुछ कर रहे हो तो पैसा नहीं आएगा. वो थ्री इडियट्स में भी कह के चला गया था रैंचो. और आई एम श्योर मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द फिलोसोफर्स हैव सेड दैट टिल द
See,
टाइम
my point
एक्सेलेंस नहीं आ रही है तब
what
तक.
I'm trying to make is we are putting a lot of amount in the law schools. National law schools are charging a lot.
Nah,
If you
exactly, it's not for the tuition fee, to be fairly honest. I mean, it's much more for the exposure, the alumni network, and the uncountable things that come with a good faculty and that ecosystem. You're paying for that ecosystem in the first place rather than, I mean, why would you?
what's the certainty that ये सब होगा? Not
Nothing
It's
is
not
certain in
that-
life.
अगर
The only
litig-
thing certain in life are taxes and I think time. Is that the third one?
And depression and and midlife crisis at 30. So it's
So you were saying, sorry.
I always prefer the Murphy's law that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And like,
Sorry, I must defend law schools over here. At least I must defend the older law schools. Like I said, I am a strong believer of the actor network theory. And yes, the entry barrier to that institution is high. And you are right, it is costing 15 to 20 lakhs. Is it worth it or not? Depending on where you're coming from, what your privilege has been, कितना आप afford कर सकते हैं, what your parents can afford, definitely it is a privilege for some. But for others, because इतना diversity होता नहीं है top 3 law schools में, sorry. So I don't see that for them it is just basically taking another college education. For them it is not putting that initial investment amount. So they end up even interning after law school at UN, at WHO for 2-3 साल जिनीवा में जाके internship करते हैं और उस internship के बाद फिर वो अपना करियर बनाते हैं UN में या WTO में बिकॉज उनके पास नेटवर्क था, उनके पास वो प्रिविलेज था ताकि वो उसको इग्नोर कर पाए. उनको सर्वाइवल के लिए पैसे नहीं कमाने थे 2 साल एंड उन्होंने 2 साल का इंटर्नशिप करा और उनको उसकी वजह से वो जॉब मिला. यू कांट कंपेयर इट विद एनीवन हु इज लेट्स से कमिंग फ्रॉम
ITM Gurgaon or coming from
Let's not take Anshul, please clarify that you're only taking that name because you are a product of that. And yeah.
now I'm sort of happy with my law school finally having made peace. But I do understand and identify each of those points, and I do curse myself that why didn't I give my CLAT more seriously?
No. But having said that, you can't hold one event as an accountable event. There are various opportunities that present themselves.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so I must save the argument. I must defend some national law schools, at least the older ones. अब ये जो नए वाले आ रहे हैं इसका अब कितना नेटवर्क बैठेगा, कितना जायज़ है इनको अब 2.25 लाख से 2.5 लाख चार्ज करना, that is open to debate and I will agree with a lot of points that you make. But at least the older law schools, जो भी हैं आप जैसे भी उनको देखते हैं.
That argument probably falls right when you talk about a law school which is a private university in some tier 3 town और जहाँ पे
how much this OP Jindal charges? They charge like 5 lakhs per annum, right? This
Plus
most
hostel
expensive.
fees.
Most
Yeah.
expensive.
but
20
they're again
Buy 25 lakhs. 20.
it's again I'd say that the same argument
If I think if somebody is going to OP Jindal, just things that don't go in the litigation, like the amount of money that they are investing, 25 lakhs, and then they will starting from wherever college you are.
But उनको
So your
फर्क नहीं
senior
पड़ता.
is not going to see you कि you are from this OP Jindal or you are from a local law school. See, he is going to pay the same. And वो जो देंगे, this is surviving amount they will only pay.
OP Jindal has a very good faculty in the first place. काफ़ी ज़्यादा hardcore हार्वर्ड के बंदे भी आए हुए हैं उधर पढ़ा रहे हैं and the library is pretty good. The mess facilities and everything is good. Sure, it's a luxury to be there and it
5-star.
it commands that kind of fee. Again, I'm sure when
So
they
what's the point of like if you ठीक it's fine if you want to build that network then go to foreign and then for अमीर लोगों के लिए it's a good thing. चलो अच्छा करो, थोड़ा अच्छा मॉल में रहो.
यार मतलब अगर वहाँ पे नहीं बैठे हुए हो और उस सर्कल में नहीं बैठे हुए हो तो हाउ डू यू एक्सपेक्ट दैट सम डेज यू विल आल्सो बी आस्किंग दैट काइंड ऑफ फी. मतलब फॉर मी अगर मैं वही अपने ग्रुप के साथ बैठा रहूँ जो 10,000 20,000 रुपये की लड़ाइयाँ लड़ रहे हैं, आई कॉन्ट एक्सपेक्ट कि मेरे को कोई रिट पिटिशन आएगी जिसमें मैं 5 लाख रुपए की फ़ीस कोट कर पाऊँगा. बट एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम अगर मैं रोज़ शाम को बैठा हूँ क्लब हाउस में या कहीं पे अपने दोस्तों के साथ हु आर पेइंग बिल्स मोर देन 50,000 60,000 फॉर वन जस्ट डिनर, I know sitting with them and just being privy with them gives me access कि whenever they have a legal hassle or a legal dispute in the family, I'm the one to call.
You don't
and-
think that जो like the जो कम के साथ बैठे हैं they won't be making more money like
They won't be able to because उनके आसपास वो purchasing power ही नहीं है ना. जब वो purchasing power ही नहीं है
उठना बैठने से I don't think it's making much more of it. Just I can understand that it's you are getting a good network, but it doesn't mean कि उन लोगों के साथ बैठने से you will obviously get
मैं गाली नहीं दे रहा हूँ
good
कि वो लोग
client.
चूतिया उनके साथ बैठ के क्या वो टाइम वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. आई एम नॉट सेइंग दैट. आई एम जस्ट सेइंग दैट इफ आई रिकग्नाइज द फैक्ट दैट मेरे को महीने का 5 लाख रुपए चाहिए ही चाहिए जिसके बिना मेरी दाल नहीं गलेगी, तो आई विल इंश्योर कि वट एवर रिसोर्सेज आर अवेलेबल इन माई आर्सनल दे आर एक्सप्लॉइटेड टू द पॉइंट कि मैं 5 बना रहा हूँ. आफ्टर दैट हाँ श्योर मैं बैठ के दारू बियर क्लब हाउस में पीऊँ या फ्लाईओवर के नीचे पीऊँ इज मटीरियल, बट टिल द टाइम मेरे को मेरे 5 लाख रुपए नहीं मिले हैं आई एम इंश्योरिंग कि मैं राइट सर्कल में राइट टाइम पे बैठा हुआ हूँ और मेरे को महीने का उतना आ रहा है. अगर नहीं आ रहा तो अगेन आई एम देन अगेन सेटिंग माई सेल्फ अप फॉर फेलियर इन द नेक्स्ट मंथ, क्योंकि जब मेरा क्लर्क फीस मांगेगा या मेरा चेम्बर का किराया जाएगा या पेट्रोल का पैसा भरना है, उस टाइम ऑल दीज एक्सक्यूजेज इज समथिंग दैट वोंट कम इन हैंडी ना. मतलब कोई नहीं पापा को या मम्मी को क्या जवाब देंगे कि आज यार इस महीने हो नहीं पाया. वी आर नॉट एट दैट स्टेज वे पीपल हैव वर्कड फ्रॉम दैट आवर क्यूबिकल्स right from day one of passing out of law school to making things for ourselves, buying cars, making mutual funds, FDs, RDs, and now we're at a stage where individual practice is something जो आने वाले 5-6 साल में थ्राइव करेगी, and there'll be a black swan event which will dictate the way what fees, when, what will be
See,
on.
this point, even if you are from a OPG in the law school or you're from a local school, your both of your struggle will be same. Unless you know your parents have पापा के पास बहुत अच्छा practice है या पापा के पास पैसा है.
See,
that's only
exactly
make a difference. But the struggle अगर जो भी है you have to start somewhere point.
हाँ तो वो स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट अलग हो जाएगा ना.
जैसे कि वो पिक्चर में डायलॉग नहीं है जहाँ इनकी स्ट्रगल शुरू खत्म होती है,
हाँ.
वहाँ हमारे सपने
Yeah.
शुरू होते हैं, जहाँ इनके सपने खत्म होते हैं वहाँ हमारी स्ट्रगल शुरू होती है.
जहाँ इनका स्ट्रगल शुरू होता है वहाँ हमारे सपने खत्म होते हैं. कुछ ऐसा
मुझे मतलब समझ नहीं आया, मैंने 2-3 बार ही देखा वो, पता है वो सब मीम तो बन गया, बट आई फियर द मीनिंग वाज लॉस्ट ऑन मी टू दिस डे.
It was again the difference between a first generation lawyer and a third
See,
generation
none
lawyer.
of this what we are saying applies to a guy or a girl जिसके फादर या पेरेंट्स या अंकल या आंट या इन लॉज के पास एक ग्रोइंग लीगल प्रैक्टिस है. उनको ये सब सेल्स करने की जरूरत नहीं है. उनको अपने आप को मार्केट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. दे डोंट हैव टू कन्विंस अ क्लाइंट दैट दे कैन डू इट, दैट दे आर केपेबल ऑफ. उनका सरनेम और उनका एड्रेस
बहुत है
ही बहुत है, ठीक है. सो ऑब्वियसली व्हाट वी आर सेइंग इज विद द बिग कैविएट एंड विद द बिग डिस्क्लेमर कि ये आपको अप्लाई नहीं करता, आप इसको खाली एंटरटेनमेंट वैल्यू के लिए देख रहे हो. रियली आप देख ही क्यों रहे हो, आपकी प्रैक्टिस है, यू शुड बी कॉन्सेंट्रेटिंग ऑन अदर थिंग्स.
You're just supposed to become an essential part of that machinery जो वहाँ पे चल रही है.
Now, if you want to do things differently, I think this is where all three of us agree, Anshul, that yes, maybe earning 5 lakhs a month or hearing
Before
or a month.
differently, let us really talk about what it takes to kickstart our individual practice, the kind of support that we want from our parents, from our brothers, from our sisters, from chachas, from our best friends, papas, and similar things. Because the moment you are independent, it's like day zero. For some, it's day zero. For some, it's like they have 5-6 cases or maybe 10 cases जो side पे उनके चल रहे थे if their office used to allow. But when you're at a day zero, you're in that zone जहाँ पे all the basic necessities that you used to enjoy are now luxuries because rent will be coming out of from your bank account. Your car EMI or your bike EMI will be coming out from your bank account. And when that's the case, again, making that first sale is very important. In some cases,
First client.
the first client. What sort of kickstart help do we require from who?
प्रेम आप
Yeah,
बताएंगे.
चलो I'll go first. So my first clients, जैसे ही when I left Delhi, so then I had my activist लोगों का, I had a good friend in activist, so वहाँ पे then जब activist लोगों के साथ था तो I had no work, like मैं उनके साथ protest कर रहा हूँ, नारा कर रहा हूँ, then I was like ये क्या कर रहा, this is not something that I was supposed to, as a lawyer. Then उसी में से ही there's this one person who said in the Facebook against the chief minister. That time there was another chief minister at time, the BJP chief minister, and he abused him in Facebook. He got उसके ऊपर FIRs हो गए. And then what I did is like I see this person who is this mutual friend. So I really interested to get that client. मैंने उनको messages किए, see I really want to work with these clients. मुझे इनका चाहिए case. And then with the few recommendations, because I had that surrounding with my friends who are activists at that time. So they contacted me. he also contacted me. Are you interested? I'm sure. Like I was very hungry for to get a client. I was like, कितना charge करो, कितना fees होगा? And जैसे ही first client था, it was very shocked. उस time I was not able to like मुझे तो client चाहिए था. Like I was not looking for a fees. So I was like, नहीं, you just give me that wakalat. I need to file this petition. And then I came up with like, oh, let's file his whole anticipatory bail got rejected. Obviously, he said abused then presiding chief minister of Jharkhand. So I was like, नहीं, I want, because अगर मैं उसका case करूँ, I will have a name, like fame तो मिलेगा ही. So his both anticipated got rejected. What I drafted is, my mind came, इसका बना दो surrender cum bail applications. And then that was my first case that I filed in the district court.
Super.
And then we filed his after 14 days custody, and he got bail. He surrendered.
Nice.
That was the only way. Otherwise, he
Did you get paid?
He paid me by like bits. He was a student, like.
Chalo, theek hai. That's
he
fine.
was a very active student, and my client is now he has grown up. Like abhi bhi he abuses all politicians. Itna gali deta hai, but because of him, and after that I got I got another clients, जिसने social media में बोला. So see, this is how my brand is going now.
So you're basically doing a lot of people who are...
Yeah, like you can say like freedom of speech cases, like
Interesting.
hate sedition cases.
Sedition cases, reasonable restriction,
Correct,
limitations
yeah.
on freedom.
I love it.
Wow,
So-
super.
And
super.
thereafter there was in Jharkhand, there was not many of you heard. This they call Pattal Gadi. It's
हाँ, I know Pattal Gadi.
It's kind of a self-determination.
You basically inscribe your right to a land on a stone and you place it and you claim Forest Rights Act के under जो आपको benefits मिलते हैं basis that, right?
You claim your own autonomy
Yeah.
and against the government. Like
I know.
we will do it.
Yeah.
And when this was growing, and there's a district called Khuti. It's
Okay.
very near to Ranchi.
Okay.
And thereafter, जैसे ही इनका case हुआ, this after 3 months, and then I got phone call from there कि नहीं इनका भी एक case है. Why don't you just let's set up a meeting there. तब I got this Pattal Gadi, and that time this BJP government is very aggressive against who goes against the government, and they were trying to see tribals have their own right. उनका अपने तरीके से they will determine their administration rights. They won't allow the police to function inside their districts. So then the government filed like around 25 sedition cases. Heard of, like, it was the even pata nahi, but it's the most highest district in all over India. कितने ज़्यादा sedition cases, and they will in each FIR they will name 6 and 5, and then the rest of will be unknown. So anybody can be picked up
For
so
investigation purposes.
like what investigation? They will take you the custody. So this was that pack, and some people were promoting this idea of Pattal Gadi in the Facebook. Even who are posting the Facebook, they contact me. So this was then that case came in. So ये हुआ, and then उनका भी I filed the quashing petition, तो reject ही हो गया. Now the Supreme Court came in. Supreme Court के पास भी गए थे, only got notice, no stay. But that time the government, it was a BJP government. Later on, when new government came, this JMM government, so they announced that we will be taking back the sedition cases.
Okay, interesting.
I think heard of this. Like you must have heard this.
I know, I've heard
Okay.
Pattal Gadi, which is why when you said it, I said I know what it's about. And it's very interesting because what you are saying essentially just backs the point that I was making earlier, that your geographical position along with your immediate network is what determines your first line of cases. For example, आपने जैसे बताया with your social media activism, with the Pattal Gadi activism, was because you were active in the network at some point, and that's how you landed your first set of clients. And
So
then
this
आपका
is how
नाम
your
बढ़ा.
starting point of branding starts.
Correct. So
now nobody looks. See, now I can't. For me, it's very hard to get a tax practice from, like, see, अब कोई किसी का tax में आ गया, किसी का demand against है, so it's very tough for me to मेरा वहाँ नाम ही नहीं रहेगा.
Again,
So
validating your point only. That
it's Bruno Latour's point. It's not point. I just read philosophy.
what about your first client story?
My first client story was very less dramatic and very simple. आस पड़ोस में किसी ने ग्रुप पे डाला, does anyone know a lawyer? I need to get someone thrown out of the house. And my neighbor posted, हाँ ये है ना 701 में ये वाला इसको आप ले लो ना.
Where was this? Bangalore or something?
This was back home only during COVID. Someone posted on the RWA group. Essentially, I was just dramatizing it, but saying I need a lawyer. And then someone else said that I think someone stays in that floor and you should get in touch with him. And they got in touch with me. and this is what the legal notice that I sent out was. And this was
Oh, this is
not
a 7,000 legal
This
notice.
is a 7,000 legal notice.
Oh.
However, this was not a litigation client. This was my first client. जिसे कहते हैं someone who walked in to a virtual setting. My first litigation client story was certainly again pro bono. This was entirely a pro bono case for which I never charged any money. I have a cousin who was studying in a Lady Shri Ram College, and तब एक दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी ने स्कीम अनाउंस करी थी ड्यूरिंग कोविड फॉर लॉकडाउन स्टूडेंट्स की वी विल हैव एन ओपन बुक एग्जाम. तो ओपन बुक एग्जाम में ये हुआ एसेंशली कि ओपन बुक एग्जाम में दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी ने अनाउंस करा कि हम तुम्हें मॉक देंगे, तो तुम्हें इसको ऐसा करना है कि तुम्हें एक एग्जाम का क्वेश्चन पेपर आएगा, तुम्हारे पास 3.5 घंटे हो गए, तुम एक A4 शीट लो, उस पर अपना आंसर लिखो, उसकी फ़ोटो खींचो, हमारे पैनल पे अपलोड करो, और जैसे जैसे अपलोड होगा तुम्हारा एवेल्युएशन उसके बेसिस पे होगा. चलो ठीक है, ये अब पॉलिसी उन्होंने अनाउंस करी बिकॉज सब घर पे बंद थे एंड कोई एग्ज़ाम फिजिकली दे नहीं पाया. अब मेरी जो कज़न थी वो साइकोलॉजी ऑनर्स की स्टूडेंट है, और उसका मॉक एग्जाम आप सोचो जब वो देने बैठी, बिकॉज मॉक एग्जाम ये ट्रायल एंड टेस्ट करना है, पहली बार हो रहा है, फर्स्ट आइटरेशन है, उसका किसका मॉक एग्जाम उसके सामने खुलता है? स्टेटिस्टिक्स, मैथ्स. तो दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी को बताया गया कि यार आपके मॉक एग्जाम तो सब्जेक्ट ही मतलब मैसअप कर रहे हैं, इट्स नॉट इवन द सेम सब्जेक्ट. बोले ओके 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 वी हैव टू टेक्निकल डिफिकल्टीज. फिर उन्होंने राउंड 2 करा, और राउंड 2 में किसी का आंसर शीट अपलोड ही नहीं हुआ. फिर उन्होंने ऐसे 3 या 4 राउंड करे बिफोर माई कजन अप्रोच्ड मी एंड सेइंग कि ये हमारी साइकी पे टोल ले रहा है कि हर 15 दिन में ये एक एग्जाम अनाउंस करते हैं और ये उसका फेलियर होता है. सो आइदर वी स्क्रैप दिस और वी मेक दिस प्रोसेस अ लॉट मोर कन्वीनियंट.
राइट.
तो फिर उसने as litigators, as independent students, I made some of our friends independent petitioners in a writ petition, and I filed a writ petition against the mode and manner of the conduct of the open book examination, arguing that it is not only technically unfeasible but also the internet limitations that you have placed on the students ensures कि अगर कोई लड़का या लड़की फॉर एग्जाम्पल बिहार में है या नेपाल में है जहाँ इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी और कैमरा क्वालिटी इतना हाई नहीं है, दे कांट कम्पीट विद द स्टूडेंट जो दिल्ली में बैठ के अपने घर में जहाँ भी दिल्ली में है वहाँ ही एग्जाम लिख रहा है. आप ये पूरा प्रोसेस 5 घंटे में कर ही नहीं सकते या 3 घंटे में कर ही नहीं सकते. यू नीड टू ऑफर अ लिटिल मोर ऑप्शन टू द स्टूडेंट टू बी एबल टू डू दिस इन अ एनवायरमेंट जहाँ वो आराम से कर सके, while at the same time ensuring cheating ना होए, while at the same time ensuring कि how do you guard against these other illegal tactics that people may employ during these exams. So you need some more time and you need to change the mode and manner. जो technical आपका parameter एग्जाम का वही गलत है. It was a very nuanced argument, but luckily the judge got onto it and the judge was very supportive of the students' cause, and हमारा ये लंबा केस चला and this went on for a long time and we managed to make major amends in the manner of conduct of open book examination. And this got me a lot of good press coverage, this got me a lot of goodwill, and that is really how I landed my first client. Was कि मेरी cousin आके she came to me.
First line was that legal notice.
That was my first non-litigation client.
Non-litigation
This is my
First
first.
is pro bono.
This was
You're not counting.
pro bono client या non pro bono client. For me, it is just about I do the job that I'm asked for.
So how much you charged?
From the students, I charge some basic, I think, of
Per student.
filing fees, 1,000 rupees or something.
1,000 student.
No, 1,000
per
rupees.
student.
Per
No,
student.
for everyone. I think there were 5 girls. I took 200 rupees. I don't even know if I charged.
1,000 in a rate.
Yeah, and this case went on for at least 20 hearings.
Imagine what much your clerk would have made it. Like क्या बनाएगा?
It is fine, that's why I said कि ये sales और marketing का chapter अगर मैंने law school में पढ़ा होता, अगर हमें पढ़ाया होता, maybe I would have approached this differently, but knowing me, I have no regrets because like I said, I come from a position of privilege where I can afford to do a pro bono matter. Pro bono matter करने के लिए भी privilege चाहिए.
Correct है, हाँ सही है.
So my approach to my litigation career is actually very different. Let's say it is never कि 5 लाख रुपीस का मेरे को महीने का minimum threshold hit करना है, या फिर मेरे को मतलब my thing is slightly more different. My thing is I want diversity in the work I do. मेरे को किसी ने एक बार ये बोला था कि जो आवारा वकील होता है ना वो बेस्ट वकील होता है. वेरी सीनियर लॉयर सेड इट. एंड प्रेम शुरू में समझ नहीं आया कि आवारा वकील पर बेस्ट वकील कैसे हो सकता है, बट फिर मैं रियलाइज कर रहा हूँ कि जितना आपका एक्सपीरियंस वेल राउंडेड है, जितने आप ज़्यादा आवारा हो इन द सेंस ऑफ कि आपने इंसॉल्वेंसी भी करा है, आपने आईपीआर भी करा है, आपने क्रिमिनल भी करा है, आपने सिविल भी करा है, आपने रिट भी करा है, आपने टैक्सेशन भी करा है, आपने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ भी करा है, उतना ही ज़्यादा वेल राउंडेड you will become as a lawyer because आपका जो diversity है वो कभी एक niche area में concentrated नहीं है. However, unfortunately, the reality of our times is कि जहाँ आपको पैसा चाहिए आपको niche में घुसना ही पड़ेगा. राइट?
That is very important.
सो आप नीश में घुस के पैसे तो कमा लोगे, बट जो आपका वेल राउंडेड पर्सनैलिटी और एक आपका बनेगा एक्सपीरियंस का पैलेट, वो बहुत ही ज़्यादा कम बनेगा.
That is where I think it becomes very important to distinguish between A, your source of money, and B, your experimental activities that are supposed to, give you exposure to more number of things that you were unaware of before that. And once that distinction becomes very clear, I think it is fairly easy that you know that you're doing something for money, either for earning your bread and butter, or you're doing it for something that accelerates your money making process. And sure, it's like, again, बहुत सारा philosophy लगा के, दिमाग लगा के, you're able to somehow manage that proportion. But it's more about, just doing it and doing it better in a far more optimized manner. And then if that effectively shows on what your appearance fee is, how much you're going to charge as a filing fee, or you're going to give an exam. Let's say I plan to give an AOR exam. For what reason, I don't know. But I just know that it effectively places me with other AORs, and considering the fact that I'm going to be sitting with judges, etc., तो मैं कहीं ना कहीं से इसका कुछ ना कुछ कनेक्शन बिठा लूँगा 2-3 साल में.
So in this way, so you started this. That was a land and eviction matter. Then you got this good directions from the court in the open
Judgments.
So after
reportable judgments. It's a
so
big
this-
thing. I was
brand-
6 months in my legal career and I had 2 reportable judgments in my name. I was very proud.
Okay,
Just
so
you alone, not with
Just, I was the intervener. There was a leading writ petitioner, and he also became a fast friend, representing students. There were 2 set of lawyers. We were representing different set of students.
Then afterwards, जब जैसे ही case खत्म हुआ, you got another flood of cases like this, or
Oh,
or
so
it
that
changed?
is, see, that's why I couldn't market my ability well. अगर मेरे को marketing करना आता ये, तो मैं क्या करता कि मैं दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी में जितने भी आपकी स्टूडेंट पॉलिटिकल बॉडीज हैं उनके साथ मेरे को रीच आउट करना चाहिए था. मेरे को आगे जाके अपने
No,
आप
you
को
don't need to
मार्केट.
reach out. They actually come because once your name comes in one cases, they actually call you out. ऐसा होता है. So
But-
we don't need to
but
work for
यार हिंदुस्तान में
for
20
the market.
20 लाख वकील होने जा रहे हैं अब, और जजमेंट्स डेली बेसिस पे आ रही हैं. तो इट्स लाइक अब सिर्फ जजमेंट अपने नाम पे आ जाना या कुछ लैंडमार्क जजमेंट आ जाना इज नॉट इनफ टू मार्केट योर स्किल्स. नाउ इट्स द टाइम व्हेन यू हैव टू लाइक स्टैंड इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कैमरा एंड लाइक मैंने ये करवा दिया है, कैसा लग रहा है आपको, चेक करिए.
What are your thoughts regarding people standing in front of courtrooms and announcing wearing full-fledged bands and gowns that they have managed to? Have you seen that? That's
Yeah, a lot of lawyers, a lot of my batchmates do it. Secured a bail today.
boom.
And फर्क पता चल जाता है because उससे
I will never trust if my doctor or lawyer comes on Instagram, dances around and points fingers at different things. Honestly, the last thing I want to do is, because someone like a doctor or someone like a lawyer should be doing really like.
नहीं, I don't mind it. Like अगर
Okay.
some lawyers some doing is like it's not like he's announcing that his achievement. He's just informing a media like. So I think it's a good thing. It's nothing that it's doing
no.
harm, and your perspective
Yeah.
and comparing that example कि मेरा doctor आगे.
No, I'm sorry. I must clarify. I'm not saying announcing that that happens on LinkedIn all the time. I mean Instagram पे खड़े होके ये जो आप भरी बत्तियों के साथ जो रील्स बनाते हो और जो पॉइंट्स करते हो और पता नहीं.
इट्स लाइक पुलिस ने नोटिस दिया, कॉन्टैक्ट लॉयर, ड्राफ्ट रिप्लाई
That's
एंड ऑल दोस.
educating law rights.
Anshul, you imagine if you meet a cop right now and then you start up and the cop is like, okay, so I need to have your driving license, your RC, and you're like, he's looking at you all confused saying, "Kya ho gaya?" And then you
Those
keep
are
doing
like,
this.
Nowadays, this legal influences are coming, so they tell you this rights and all. In the other, it's very different. But if you have a good judgment, you can just
Of
put in
course,
your
no.
whatever
I
media you are
don't mean-
comfortable in.
Marketing again gets me to my third point of how we are never taught marketing in law school, and the biggest skills, like I said earlier, is I think the 2 biggest things that you need to know is that what is your network and how you can optimize your network, as I've always been saying, and the second thing is sales and marketing kaise kar sakte ho. For any first generation lawyer who's now looking to make his or her mark, it is very important to identify your network, and then once you identify the network, you can elevate your network. Like आपके भी story में जैसे आपने बताया कि you elevated your network. The other people from social media started getting in touch with you. The Patalgadi incident that happened, and Anshul के case में भी I'm sure he will narrate an incident where he identified the network, triggered it and elevated it along with a pinch of sales and marketing. So these are the skills which you require as a first generation lawyer to start litigating in our country, in any major city, and definitely using the internet as a marketing tool is a great opportunity. And yeah, Anshul, what is your story? This
tell
is
me.
now you tell us now.
About which part?
First client story.
Yeah, the first
First
maybe
client
the
story
real
was-
client. You can give it a 30-second thought.
My first client story was very interesting. I was there at Kutub Institutional area. I saw two guys were fighting. And I saw किसी ने फ़ोन मिलाया तो PCR आई थी. तो 17 साल का लड़का था, उसने दारू पी रखी थी, पुलिस वाला उसको परेशान कर रहा था. I think he was in the mood to extort some money out of him, assuming the fact that he was rich and all that. तो I just went up to him, like 5,000 रुपये लगेंगे, घर चला जाएगा 1 घंटे में, दे रहा है तो बता. He's like, please निकलवा दो, मेरे मम्मी को पता चल
You closed
जाएगा.
the client on the spot in the middle of a fight.
यार वो पुलिस तो मैं बस बैठ के पुलिस वाले को बोला कि भर ले, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, FIR कर दे. तो आई जस्ट सेट की FIR कर दे, इसके अगेंस्ट कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. पुलिस वाला वाज अगेन लाइक FIR करेगा, 17 साल का लड़का है, रात को रख नहीं सकता है, मजिस्ट्रेट के सामने पेशी कराना ज़रूरी है, कौन भरेगा. मैंने पुलिस वाले को बोला रख यार, तो 1000 रख.
That's what I call a street smart lawyer. You know, this is what a wise lawyer does. You know, like he knows the loopholes, he knows the bureaucratic process, and he short circuits it. For example, that's commendable. मुझसे कभी ना हो पाता.
ये on the spot performance है.
Yeah, he's a born actor.
This was like my first year in like practice. though उस time
So
की
the
बात
first
है.
paying client. What about your first court appearance? What was that story? How did you get your first court client?
That was my court appearances for like during my initial years was because of my senior only.
Senior lawyer.
हाँ.
So you're saying that working with the senior is important because I see a lot of junior lawyers who say, "Ki no, we should bypass seniors, cancel their salaries," and I don't think that is basically the way to go about it at all.
You shouldn't become bound down by your senior's office. मतलब सीनियर के पास अगर तुम 18 घंटे काट रहे हो और वही 40-50 हज़ार 70 हज़ार रुपये भी कमा रहे हो, that doesn't make sense at the end of the day. However, being in a senior's office, having that sense of discipline, going through that legal research, raiding his office files for everything and anything, if you're not doing that, then sure, like हाँ मतलब फिर तुम अपना कटवा रहे हो.
So यहाँ पे this good
कहाँ मिलेगा
question comes-
एक्सपोजर यार. मैं लॉ स्कूल से फ्रेश पास आउट ITM लॉ स्कूल, कोई टायर 1 लॉ फर्म लेने वाला नहीं मेरे को. None of the good seniors from Sibbal, Rothgi or anything will look at my CV. I don't have जेसप का कुछ कि मैं अप्लाई कर दूंगा कहीं पे. तो all I have is to say yes to whatever opportunity comes my way. And when I see an office 150 केसेस चल रहे हैं वहाँ पे, एक अच्छा क्लर्क है, लीगल लाइब्रेरी है, SCC ऑनलाइन मनुपात्रा वेस्ट लॉ मिल रहा है, that is just an opportunity for me to exploit all of that, juice all of that, and 2-3 साल 4 साल वहाँ पे काम करके अपना अगर मैं एक बेस बना सकता हूँ और उसको अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ अपने इमीडिएट फैमिली नेटवर्क में, आई एम श्योर आई एम हेडेड डाउन अ पाथ वेयर आई नो कि वो इंक्रीज करेगा, एलिवेट करेगा. और वही जैसे मैंने बोला 5,000 रुपये भी कमाए हुए हैं टू अ पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम वेयर आई हैव ऑल्सो नाउ कमांडेड फीस ऑफ रफली अराउंड 5 लाख रुपीज़ फॉर वन केस. And it has come to me without me having to, like sell myself on the street ki kar lo. So that, I'm not saying that it is a success story of sorts, but that surely tells me that there's a huge potential if you're just able to, in a very predetermined manner, engineer the way we are going out and practicing law. If our objective is just making money, then we need to ensure that law isn't really coming in the way of making money.
Yeah,
If we are practicing law, then money making isn't coming in the way of practicing law.
Interesting.
So यहाँ
Yeah.
पे this one point is very important. So when we are going to start the practice, right after passing out, and then when like so it's यहाँ पे आता है when
हर
where
एक
you
आदमी
need
का
to
अपना ही
learn, like,
हर एक आदमी का अपना ही होता है. I'm sure nobody can really apply a benchmark कि आपको
एक साल
इतना
बाद या 2 साल
एक
I,
साल
for
बाद-
example, started my litigation practice in 2019, which is approximately 5 to 6 years after I graduated. तो मैंने शुरू किया अपने 5-6 साल कुछ लिटिगेशन, कभी नहीं, मैं कोर्ट के अंदर भी नहीं गया. मतलब गया था एज एन इंटर्न, बट उन 4-5 साल मैंने कभी नहीं
working
करा.
with so here's the question is working with senior office, is it really helping in
Yes, because exposure और कहाँ मिलेगा.
Network again.
network वहाँ पे नहीं मिला. See यहाँ पे with senior office what you just said right now, what we are investing in. So we are investing in our time in learning the briefs, appearing before the court. That is only the 10% of the litigation. I consider it as 10%. I'll tell you why. Because what we are not learning, because we are investing all the time there, we are not building going out and meetings any prospective
वो
friends.
आपके ऊपर है ना कि आप बाकी टाइम
See, it's
ऑफिस से
tough. In the senior office, it's very tough.
हाँ तो वो आप फिर गलती कर रहे हो. मैं सीनियर के ऑफिस से 9 बजे या 10 बजे 11 बजे जब भी निकलूँ, मैं मैजिक मोमेंट्स का क्वार्टर या हाफ लेके अपने दोस्तों के साथ बैठा हुआ होता था, या उनके पापा के पास बैठा हुआ होता था कि और सुनाओ अंकल क्या चल रहा है. फिर वो मुझसे पूछेंगे बता यार कोर्ट में क्या चल रहा है, या आज कोई नई जजमेंट आया, अच्छा मोदी जी का क्या है. बिकॉज एज लॉयर्स यू आर एक्सपेक्टेड कि तुम बहुत स्मार्ट होगे, तुम्हें सोसाइटी के हर एंगल के बारे में सब कुछ पता है.
No, I mean, I agree. No, but we are actually society's doctors. I'd say that the practice of law is actually the practice of doctoring. I mean, doctoring in the sense that practice of medicine, but you're society's doctors in a way.
Yeah.
So I draw a lot of comparisons between the practice of doctors and the practice of lawyers. And honestly, like, there is, I mean, practice of law is just so far behind in the practice of doctors right now. It's just sad what the state of our judiciary and bar is.
That is a nice way of building network. But what juniors right now, all the juniors are doing is, what they are doing, they're going to the court. Yes, they are reading the files, but what they are doing, like they'll appear before the court and they'll say, oh, my senior is in legs, so kindly pass out for 2 cases.
But that is not
वो वकालत है भी नहीं, वो वकालत है भी नहीं.
That is what actually most of the juniors are spending their time and learning only this facts for another 5 years. They are in senior office. When a big client comes in, when a big case comes in, it's not your juniors will be arguing it. It's your always senior will be arguing. If senior is busy in another court, your junior will be taking time, and what your Passover and adjournments. Because of these junior lawyers, they are also one of the factors for this pendency of courts. But they are actually disturbing the flow of the the sequence of how the judges when judge comes in the court, he's a very peaceful man in starting his case, and then one junior comes, oh, I need a Passover, then it will pass for another 5 cases, then his senior will come and then he will argue a case. So this juniors lawyers, I for suggestion for all the juniors is, see, don't ask your seniors to I have read this file, I really want to argue this case. But I think that should be
but you can't.
But you can't do that because the client is paying. The client is paying not the junior guy to argue the case. The client is paying your senior to argue the case, and your job as a junior is to ensure that your senior argues the case, na?
And he argues it well.
So he argues it well.
Perhaps if you have better points, then it's better that you give him those points. Like you do that for him.
The stakes are high. The risk is high.
I hate my seniors for the times that they've like not acknowledged कि ये मैंने पॉइंट बनाया था और समथिंग, बट एट द सेम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आई एम वेरी पीसफुल विद द फैक्ट कि वो उनका केस था, उनका क्लाइंट था, उनका मैटर था, उनका प्रिविलेज था कि उन्होंने कर लिया. एंड इफ़ आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू दैट, देन लाइक मैं रोता ही रह जाऊँगा ना कि भाई मेरे को तो कुछ अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल रही है, ये क्या हुआ, वो क्या हुआ. आई एम श्योर लाइक इवन ही एज अ गाय, एवरी सीनियर इज अ गाय हु कैन बी मेल्टेड एंड ही कैन लाइक पुट हिज ट्रस्ट इन यू कि हाँ इसको आगे करने के लिए आज ये दे देते हैं मैटर. But that point,
but that time comes at very late time. Like you need to be there in office for a regular 1 to 2 years. Then
1 to 2 years, like 4 to 5 years. I say 1 to 2.
I think you just need to be brilliant and pointed towards whatever you want to do.
Very long time. Like ठीक है, अब मैं इसको चांस देता हूँ, चलो बेटा ये वाला केस कर लो.
या जिनको आगे निकलना होता है वो आगे निकलता ही है, कोई रोकने वाला तो है नहीं.
All juniors should have a like this. If you really want to start your litigation practice, there must be like एक चुन लो कि like let's say I should learn this thing कि after 2 years I'll have to get independent anyhow. अब हो गया जितना भी salary दे, make it a savings account and then just start your litigation practice. And one of the point junior lawyer should उसको भी सीखना चाहिए.
लिटिगेशन ऐसे शुरू करनी ही नहीं चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से. ऐसे डाइवर्स प्रैक्टिस आप सोचो कि बस अब ऑफिस खोल लोगे और बना लोगे, बेवकूफ़ी है. मतलब लॉ प्रैक्टिस, लिटिगेशन प्रैक्टिस शुरू करनी है ना तो एक पर्सनल ऑब्जेक्टिव रखना चाहिए कि यार सोसाइटी में बदलना है या कुछ नया ऑब्जेक्टिव्स है. हाँ, कुछ पर्सनल ऑब्जेक्टिव अगर नहीं रखेगा तो वो फायदा नहीं है, वो फिर खोखली प्रैक्टिस ही रह जाएगी.
इंटरेस्टिंग.
आई मीन
व्हाट आर योर पर्सनल ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, अंशुल?
I want to integrate technology and law.
And how is your litigation practice helping you fulfill this personal objective?
It's not. Therefore, I litigate very less. And majority of my work is just spent researching on application of AI and machine learning in the field of law and how these APIs can be integrated towards. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that is pretty much where I spend close to 70% of my time on a daily basis, at least for the past 6 months.
Interesting.
See, the first point the objective is to make money. If you're not making money,
the objective is not to make money.
Money is to make money only. अरे पैसा नहीं कमा रहे, what are you doing? What objective के लिए?
यार,
you'll be.
पैसा आप कमा रहे हो किस लिए? रोटी कपड़ा पानी के लिए, राइट?
Yeah.
अब रोटी कपड़ा पानी के लिए अगर आप पैसा कमा रहे हो तो पैसा कमाने का जरिया और है जो आपको शॉर्ट पैसा दे देगा, आपके रोटी कपड़ा के अलावा आपको दारू की बॉटल भी दे देगा, तो वो बेटर ऑप्शन है। पर अगर एक पाथ चूज़ कर रहे हो एंड उसके पाथ के आपको ऑलरेडी पता है कि उस पाथ के एक्सटेंशन ये हैं कि अभी स्टार्टिंग में दिक्कत ये होगी, दिल्ली में सैलरी इतनी मिलती है, झारखंड में इतनी मिलती है, वी ऑलरेडी नो ऑल दैट इन्फॉर्मेशन। उसके बाद अगर आप कह रहे हो कि पैसा नहीं बन रहा है ना, तो फॉर मी दैट इज़ नाउ मी ट्राइंग टू चूज अ पाथ एंड देन सेइंग दैट द पाथ इज़ नॉट राइट, बिकॉज इट्स लाइक मेरे को पता था कि ये होना है, अब मैं बस कह रहा हूँ कि यार ये तो मेरे हिसाब से नहीं है, बिकॉज आई वॉज एक्सपेक्टिंग कि आई विल बी दैट ब्रिलियंट गाय हु विल ब्रेक द कोड, whereas in reality I think history has pretty much taught us that nobody really breaks the
You
code.
can't do cases in pro bono. That's
Don't.
हाँ, so see, you can have your objective, बहुत अच्छा है, keep it with you and
उसको मार्केट कर दो।
करो,
Let's say you
it's
want to
go
become
ahead,
an
but
environmental lawyer,
point
then
is
जाके बैठ जाओ वो
you have
रैलियों
to
में
make
और
a money out of your case. You can't go unpaid. There is a team that will work. Your
I'm
clerk
saying
will
become so
work on it.
brilliant at a specific niche or a sub niche that whosoever is that industry player in that particular
That
segment
can be your goal, like long term goal ki you can reform this
within 3
justice
months.
system.
Let's say for example आज के टाइम पे आपको अगर पैसा कमाना है लॉ से, you research on something that is also that I've been thinking about, sex tech law, the IPR part of the obscenity part of the criminal part of sex tech, and you end up researching and working for 3 months. It'll take 3 months, but then you will end up getting recruited by the leading companies such as Pornhub, Xami and all these things, which I think we already had a word about in the past.
Yeah,
And
but I see what I want to see where you go with that.
so, and when you're writing research papers and you're marketing your skills like that, and all this theories, all this work that you end up doing in the next 3 months, if it ends up really defining the way industry is supposed to adapt or change, I'm sure there is a lot of money for the amount of experience, amount of brilliance you bring to the table for such a company, right? I mean, that's one way of money making. And now money making wasn't really your objective, it was a byproduct of your success.
Yeah, no, I think both of you are somewhere right. I think what Anshul is speaking of is more to do with where the practice of law is headed and his self-actualization. उसमें कि मतलब कि I'm going to concentrate on niche.
It's a
आगे जाके
long-term
पैसे
objective he's
आएगा.
talking about.
Future oriented है. आपका is more practical and reality oriented कि ठीक है तुम आगे की ये सब तो फलाना ढिमका ठीक है, बट तुम आज का मतलब घर कैसे चला रहे हो, आज का तुम कैसे कर रहे हो, आज का तुम खर्चा कैसे निकाल रहे हो, तुम्हारे पास अज्यूमिंग प्रिविलेज नहीं है कि तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स तुम्हें दे रहे हैं सब चलाने के लिए. And what Prem is saying is कि तुम आज कैसे करोगे, इसका भी तो जवाब आपको देना है. So you have to balance.
At the end of the money, at the end of the month, you need to pay your rent.
I agree. I'm sorry if I was invalidating कि भैया रोटी पानी कपड़ा जरूरी नहीं है, उसके बिना आदमी नहीं जी सकता. I was just saying that there is a level of mindfulness जो अगर absent हो जाती है तो it's very easy to get lost along the way and then just keep fending for that same bread and butter and caught in that getting caught on the treadmill. वो मेरे को लगता है कि ऑन अ डेली बेसिस हम सब के साथ होता है, मेरे साथ अभी भी होता है. इट्स नॉट लाइक मैं बुद्धा निर्वाणा में आ गया हूँ और अब मेरे को किसी चीज़ की ज़रूरत नहीं है. गेटिंग कॉट इज समथिंग दैट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वन शुड अवॉइड एट ऑल कॉस्ट वाइल इंश्योरिंग कि हाँ all the daily requirements like you mentioned are necessary.
So I suppose we can conclude it best by saying that yes, money making is real, it is important, you have to do it. But what Anshul is saying that have a larger self-actualization also, have a larger plan that you are doing all this for the money and what else, or you're doing this for what else and the money follows. So I suppose that.
Yep,
would be
that was I was making. Moving on to the next segment. What's dating like for lawyers?
Oh, dating. Anshul, there are 3 guys sitting on a Sunday afternoon here. Let us take a poll as to who all in this panel is currently single.
I don't know if I'm on a situationship or not.
Situationship, yes.
It is something
I want
that
to tell my story. See,
Go ahead, Prem,
why
go
I
ahead.
left Delhi.
Oh,
Okay.
I like how we circle back to the
So I'll tell you, like, so in Delhi, my practice is like Delhi. In Delhi, I see a lot of girls in compared to my Jharkhand I got practice in here. Here, a lot of girls coming. Like, यहाँ पे तो you can see a lot of beauties here. Okay. And, and
That's a polite way of putting it.
I met with this girl in 2018, and when I first time saw her, she was coming for taking an adjournment on behalf of senior, and I saw her like, first sight में जैसा नहीं होता है, you fell in love.
Yeah.
बहुत सुंदर दिख गई. A guy from a Jharkhand likes a Delhi, and she's from
Smitten.
नहीं, she's from Delhi. Janakpuri is that? What?
Janakpuri, that's in West Delhi.
West girl.
West Delhi girl. West Delhi girl.
Okay, हाँ, West Delhi girl. So yeah, like, starting, धीरे धीरे बात होने लगे, and then thing is, when I'm, I was really, friendship start होता है, and then I really want, to go further beyond. So after the 3 months of talking, I don't want to be in a friendship zone. So I just said, I proposed to her, I really like you. And what was her answer? Prem, you are outsider. You live in a rent. You don't have a car. So I think that really hurt me. And then
And that became your trigger
कि
point.
अब
कि
पैसा
no,
कमाएगा
no.
भाई
ठुकरा
घर
के
लेगा
मेरा
गाड़ी लेगा
प्यार.
so then I thought, like, see, I that made me, like, see how now I'm working in a firm. I'm getting this much of a salary. And that hit me like, yeah, whatever she's talking, she's, at least when she rejected me, she said, see, you live in a rent, you don't have a car. So it was something that I really need to be serious, like after 4 years of practice,
Fair.
where I am going head into. If this is salary I'm getting from a firm, will I be able to get a house or even a car, itne salary? Because my expenses were also, वो भी बढ़ते जा रहे थे.
So
then,
is that the moment you decided to shift base basically?
No, then I was
Shivankar, your
like,
mic.
घर भी चाहिए, गाड़ी भी चाहिए. And what's the option? वो मेरे घर में ही है. हाँ, मेरे back to home I have a car. पापा का गाड़ी है, पापा का घर है. At least second time तो ये कोई नहीं बोलेगा. So I was like, but then I was really trying hard. कि नहीं, like, let's try, let's first get a good job. So I was like preparing, get a government job or some, get legal field में you get a job. But then I was like, nahi, I really need to get independent, and I really need to make better money and start my independent practice. So that was my turning point. I was really like thinking bura laga, because I got a lot of attachment. Even it's, where I said it's very less 3 months.
I'm sure you were like, ठुकरा के मेरा प्यार मेरा इंतकाम
इंतकाम नहीं
देखेगी.
हुआ अभी भी, like still I need to buy my own house, car, and so
यार मर्द वकील की जिंदगी ना बहुत कुत्ती जिंदगी है. Because they are very desensitized on a point of getting exposed to day-to-day cases, disputes, etc. So
but girl rejects you, I think for it was a fair reasons to reject
Wow,
you. You don't
it's
have a-
premising it was fair. I see the merit in your rejection. I don't disagree principally on what you're saying. West Delhi girl.
So girls, if she doesn't like you back, I think as my dating experience, whatever I met with the girls, I think it's only for either you don't have money or she likes somebody else. She just, otherwise she won't say anything. Like she will be like ki nahi, let's give me some more time. These are all bullshit reasons. Like I think only for 2 reasons they reject you.
Wow.
Or money, and I think mostly 90% of the time, like
come on.
just,
There's third party. There are third party rights.
Andrew Tate has come to the awakening now. He's telling
is going in a very different direction. He's like, when you are really serious and you really want that girl to be in your life, I'm like a marriage. Andrew Tate is like for getting girls for your dating and purpose of having a girl as a status. He's symbolizing in that way.
Yeah. No, I wish I could resonate with either. I have been single for 5 years. So I wish I could add it and I could tell a story. But unfortunately, like it is as simple as that. When I'm so busy with court dates that I hardly go
Same
on
old,
other
same thing.
dates. I mean, Feb 14th का भी मैं पढ़ रहा हूँ पूरा हर जगह रोमांचक आज भी मैं पढ़ रहा था. And I was like,
Twitter is going on with
I
like
was-
14th Feb getting
I
dates
didn't even
and
know
shit
my
like that.
date is. I was like, दिन कौन सा है? मेरे court date कौन सी है यार? 14 को I was
Yeah.
thinking to myself.
So
So
rose दिया है, like have you
have I given a rose?
to a girl? Last नहीं कभी नहीं.
I have
Last
given rose, but that's a wine. No, yeah. Why?
No, I just asked this.
Oh, I thought like this has a deeper. Wow. Okay. No. But having said that, I did have someone, and we both were working on a law firm back in the day, and it was very hard to balance any kind of a personal life when both the parties are lawyers. Let me tell you, like I have spoken to so many couple lawyers or lawyers who are couples, and they are so busy. They're so busy half the time that they tell us the only time we can speak to each other on a not court day is Sunday को because या फिर Saturday को जब हम दोनों को कोर्ट नहीं जाना होता, or on holidays where we actually catch up on each other's personal things. So being a lawyer actually is sacrificing a large part of your personal life So either you ensure that your better half is not a lawyer, or you ensure that your better half is a lawyer but has a flexible legal career. If in terms of that's the only way you both can spend time with each other. If you both are busy lawyers, then I feel at some level, at some spiritual or some deeper level, your family as a unit, as a cohesive unit, will pay
suffer.
the price. Will pay a price. This is not to say, and I've noticed this study in court, like the success of a lawyer and the basically the relationship that lawyer has at home, and I more often than not I find an inverse proportionality in the successful. जितना career successful है उतना ही मतलब बाकी personal life में मतलब it's not so successful. So how do you find balance between the two? It is a mystery that I have not been able to solve.
But dating a lawyer is I think that works more better than dating with a non-lawyer. Yeah.
You're saying that? I think I beg to differ, but I'll first let you present your argument.
I honestly don't care as long as as long as it's a kind, nice, good person.
Oh, really?
And
just like your nice, kind lawyers that. But yeah, Prem, you were saying that. Why do you say that?
Firstly, I think it's when you are dating with you are having a time with them, you have a lot of things to talk about, and we are so much into litigation. For me is a very much love, like I really like this work, what is happening, what to do you in this is. So when you're dating, it's I feel very involved. Even in dating, it's your exchange of communications very well with another person.
Super.
And even the timings.
Yeah.
If
सब रात को 1 बजे free होंगे.
हाँ, same timing रहता है, and then even the lawyers, I think the best time is Friday night only, and then Saturday. So I think it's dating that makes sense. Another, because with the non-legal backgrounds, you have to think of a topic like अब
नहीं यार मिल जाता है इतना टॉपिक की टेंशन नहीं होती कभी
टॉपिक तो बतेरे हैं. Okay, that's your argument. You're saying there is good communication, the timings match, and there is no dearth of topics.
That intellectual thing, that thing you can connect.
So what do you think, Anshul?
Oh, I think as long as there's a good connect, a good connect, which might come with good looks, which might not come with good looks. I mean, I don't know. As long as there's a good connect, sure, go ahead, man. Like, what's stopping you?
Yeah.
एंड आई मीन क्या मैं बेंचमार्क ड्रॉ करूँ कि मेरे को सांवली लड़की महीने का 50,000 रुपये कमाने वाली चाहिए? नहीं यार, नहीं चाहिए यार. आई एम हेयर टू लाइक कमा मेरी अब ऑल ऑफ अस आर एट अ स्टेज जहाँ पे हमको रोटी पानी की लड़ाइयाँ तो नहीं लड़नी है. जब नहीं लड़नी है तो फिर क्यों वैसे एक्ट करें कि बस यही हो रहा है जीवन में. लेट अस गो आउट, वेंचर आउट, सी, एक्सपीरियंस, फील, एंड keep doing the things that we enjoy. I mean, I enjoy morning sex, so I mean, I don't want to be.
Wow.
I know that escalated quickly, but if I'm dating try and understand. Now I'm dating a lawyer who has to appear in court at 10, and it's 9 o'clock. Do you expect that that something like that is on your cards? No.
Okay, so moving on.
But I've seen this legal dating, and then after that they are like
legal dating app idea.
No, not
Yeah.
dating.
Legal app idea.
After dating, when these two lawyers get married, it's a very they are both litigating and they are both going to courts. I find it's very successful couple. Like
there should be a legal dating app like Tinder, code leads करके जिसका sign up में आपको अपना enrollment number भरना है.
Yeah, you have to give an enrollment number, and you have to.
कौन सा ये वाला?
And you have to basically you have to prove like how many reported judgments you have into your name, and then we can make it fun from there.
Algorithm takes it from there.
Why you think that it's non-legal?
Oh, I see. You spoke to me earlier also. मैं बता रहा था कि I like diversity in terms of opinion, in terms of experiences. So it's fun. Like I suppose somewhere I was talking to another friend and हम यही बात कर रहे थे. To come back home पूरा दिन कोर्ट में खड़े होके आप कर रहे हैं काम, you're dealing with dates, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with judges, you're dealing with seniors, okay, and you come back home and the last thing you want to talk about more is कि आज कोर्ट में क्या हुआ. So it just makes, for me, it's just better conversation to think about something light-hearted, or some other petty politics of office. I don't mind that background kind of like, हाँ ठीक है.
I'm sure intellectual stimulation is also one part of it.
Is it really? You've been stimulated enough 12 hours you were standing there, Anshul. No,
For me, it is.
I'm sure.
I'm sure if there's like
छोटी छोटी पर गहरी बातें अंशुल को करनी है.
if there's no such thing, then I don't think like चल भी पाता है
So
आगे.
this non-legal will not be able to understand like कहाँ
No, but I have no
frustration
experience in
कहाँ
non-legal. I'm just like, I just think.
See,
हाँ,
afterwards you can.
I haven't had experience with
It's a
a
good-
lawyer actually.
If you have, she also understands, so it's a very good way, you know. You can tell your this is court mein aisa hua, I said this thing, and I was like trying to. Say
I
my
can
part.
imagine a lot of role play ideas for that. I was like petition to.
But
I'd like to take an adjournment today.
but
This really got somewhere, and I think we should just direct down to the podcast.
no, but I was just saying to conclude, I think personal lives do suffer, do take their toll in litigation in a hardcore legal career. And I think just from our light examples, we were just trying to kind of like come to how and where.
And having a good partner is a very important, crucial thing in your.
Yeah.
See, if she is very supporting one, she also understand your struggle. So it's a very good way. Like, you know, कहते हैं ना कि there is for every successful man there is a woman.
Yeah.
So I and even even if she is a lawyer.
Modi ji, Yogi ji, Ramdev Baba, Adani. I think.
Adani has a wife and a fledged family.
Sorry, wrong example.
Yes.
So I'll take another one. Name a single guy who's doing really well.
Anshul.
Oh shit.
No, but
Oh,
you
yeah.
said you're in a
To-
situation.
to- yeah.
Anyways.
So I think her role is very important for you.
Okay,
If you really
fair
want
enough.
to be a
Yeah.
lawyer, because I think her supporting, her backup, like she can understand. Oh, you are in late because this client meeting is going on. Tomorrow you're going to a
Yeah.
draft. She can also put some effort. Oh, put this one. Let me see your draft.
Yeah.
So I'm very open for anyone. Like
Fair.
she's
No,
from a-
घर पे internship program start हो रहा है.
So I suppose that's definitely taking a toll on that. But in terms of just what skills or what do you think the future looks like for a litigation lawyer? Like you have spoken about this very frequently, and Prem, I just want to also hear from you. What do you think the future holds? And with this confluence of social media, with this Instagram influencer lawyers, these so many versions of lawyering now coming up. Is courtroom lawyering the only way that we see this progress? Is corporate the only way we see this progress? Or, as my senior once told me, that, much like a river, every river charts its own course, but eventually we all end up in the ocean.
Yep.
So, how many rivers do you see and which ocean do we all join?
The ocean, I think, is very clear. Again, getting that senior gown, getting a judgeship
I'll be a
offer,
high court judge.
getting a judgeship
I'll be a judge.
getting a judgeship offer, appearance fee going up somewhere around 3 to
12 lakhs.
12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, अब 12 lakh, 15 lakh तक ना पहुंचे, 1 lakh, 2 lakh तो surely a short.
Now he's talking about money.
Like it said, like
हो गया.
making $1 million. I'm sure like final objectives, sure, they are quantified and measured by metrics of money, but at the same point of time, they are achieved by way of a skill set. And if that skill set is something that we are planning to hone, like you said, that courtroom lawyering, corporate lawyering, there are other ways also now. Now there's YouTube lawyering, there's Instagram lawyering.
Instagram lawyering, YouTube lawyering, LinkedIn lawyering. I mean, I'm quite active on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Although I treat LinkedIn more like Twitter. I just rant things. But someone told me that the other day. He's like, you do realize there's a difference. And I said,
Or there'll be like social activism, like Prashant Bhushan type of practice.
Yeah.
And accordingly, like I think everybody is really trying to branch out into a different sphere altogether.
tech is really hot right now.
Tech is hot right now. AI is the hottest part of tech right now, which
Yeah.
is probably something that's going to be there for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
जब bubble फटेगा तब पता चलेगा क्या होना है, but
Correct, yeah.
it's starting to get steam.
Now, like, let's talk about this. See if we really want, like, I really want to be a high court judge. Okay, so
Okay.
how?
What do you
like-
think you must do to get there? I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
I mean, this is the question, but like, what collegium is actually looking for a person? Like, what practice they are actually looking into?
I don't think they're
Right now,
looking-
what controversy you see with a person becoming a judge, the collegium recommending these names. So how do I focus? What should I do to become this judge? So let's say, I'm a first generation lawyer. Okay, that's a diversified. I also belong from a tribal community, so that can also give it. And my practice is going well. Not I can pay my whole expenses I am paying. I can afford few one junior or something. So but then like so if I'm doing that well, I'm doing a pro bono cases as well. So what else is
I
what
think
they are looking?
primarily it's obviously apart from your experience and the kind of matter you've done, from what I understand, your network has to carry through. So there are
Network
references,
with whom?
your network with senior lawyers, your network within the bar, your network, your references, people who you worked at, people who you worked against, people who have empaneled you, people who have not empaneled you for whatever reason. So I suppose the network comes into play at every single place. So you need to have
Yes.
either I always say you should have either a push factor from niche. So you have people who's pushing you from the bottom, or you need to have a pull factor from the top, where someone is pulling you from the top. Now, depending on how you want to tailor it, I'm sure you can either have push if you have enough popularity or enough popular support, or you can, if you have some angle or some,
See,
you
what
can
if
have some pull.
I have a very sometimes the bar or the bench does not support who is a very critical like let's say like I'm very critical against anything
I
like
think more than the
I
fact
raise
that
my voice for anything going in the association.
Mm.
I express my opinion very active like but these things
Make you not very
I'm
popular.
very critical also. I'm very critical against the government. And have you seen such kind of persons going to bar? Very
Actually,
it's
less.
the other way around actually, because Saurabh Kirpal is the pressing case right
It's
now.
the
That
only
somebody who's
case.
been, it's the only case.
Only case.
Uh,
I don't see people who are very neutral, very silent. They are very general. Their names are being going recommending, and they are becoming additional judges, and they finally becoming judges. Or very neutral who will not make noise. I make a lot of noise. I really post a lot of things against
I
the
think if you
government.
really try to break it down, because I did break it down for myself in terms of getting that senior ground, etc. At the end of the day, it's just about the High Court judges saying yes to your name on the basis of your skill, or on the basis of a personal relation, or or for any reason whatsoever, right? Like at the end of the day, it's the yes that matters matters in terms of you becoming a senior or not becoming a senior.
yeah.
So when that's the level to which it is supposed to be broken down, you have a legal formality now. Like now there's a seniority criteria, a form you have to fill, the number of appearances, and there's a full booklet that goes with it. Earlier it wasn't the case. It was just a recommendation that was supposed to be made on a normal piece of paper. So when a judge is just supposed to say yes, they should know your name and they should be able to recognize you. That will surely come by the way you appear in court, the number of times you appear in court, etc. But also can be supplemented by the number of times live law quotes you, or a newspaper article quotes you, or let's say you end up becoming an influencer, or other ventures or other things that you go out with, which if done in a long term manner, in a proper charted out plan, has
So
the
it's a
chance.
very uncertain thing.
See, Prem, I would like
It's
to
very
just say that
uncertain.
you may be a very critical person of the government, of the bar, of the association. That's all fine. But I suppose somewhere you have to base your criticism in some real solid points of either arguments or laws or facts. And as long as your contribution to academia is well documented in terms
See
of,
why I'm doing this because I want to bring the change. That's what it shows a person who is very critical who is doing
I
this.
mean,
Not a person who is very silent spectator of both the sides and these people are becoming high court judges who does not have opinion. They're a very silent person. See these people they are not going to bring changes in the judiciary. You need a person who is very critical who has a opinion.
I understand you
I
may
think
have
as
an
Shivankar,
opinion.
you pointed out very correctly that as long as you're having your academic contribution acknowledged across the spectrum, across the bench, across
Do you
the
have,
bar.
I'm just sorry, just to complete, if you have people who support your criticism, if you base your criticism in real facts, in real laws, if you document it, if your judgments are well reported and well regarded, if people are quoting you, I suppose then you can be as critical, but you're making a mark, as opposed to you're standing in court and beating a dindora and saying, but everyone is corrupt, but the system is all corrupt, but you know what is the point even, let's being a overtly nihilism or practicing nihilism, then obviously it's just critical reasoning just gone through. So how much you engage and how much people engage with you, I suppose, will be important in determining to what valid concerns or how much validities can be applied to your critical thought. At least that's what I believe in, and I post on LinkedIn also very often. I find sometimes people engage with my criticism or my kind of observations, sometimes they don't, and I always try to give reasons. I always give reasons. Okay, I think this is like this because of 1, 2, 3, 4. And kabhi chalta hai, kabhi nahi chalta. So I suppose like no one is telling you to not stop being your individual self, but definitely root it in something real and find people who resonate with that, people who respond to that, people who engage with that.
Build your own community.
See, if you see the present selections of the collegium, so we don't see much of a change maker new coming except that Saurav Kirpal case. So they're very less. We need a more kind of those person and diversified opinions in the those person becoming judges. So then
Do you have tribal judges in Jharkhand?
Yes,
What? How many percentage?
only one.
You just have one judge?
Yeah. So
Do you think maybe he or she would be in a better position to kind of guide you on this?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying if you kind of reach out and if you kind of, I'm just saying, I mean that's
speaking
unnatural.
in this one is like I feel it's a social media platform now, so
No.
saying
Go ahead,
No.
talking
No,
to
no,
him.
no, no. I'm just saying that. So making that connect, I always keep coming back to the actor network theory because as Latour says, you have to build certain connects. So if you have someone who's done it, obviously that person is a good person to kind of reach out to and say, okay, I want to be where you are. This is what I'm doing. What do you think I can do more or what do you think I can do less? So do that. Anshul, me on the other hand, just wants to become a senior advocate and then a judge in that order. Is that right, Anshul?
That's the
Still
steps.
navigating. Want to be offered judgeship and seniority. Don't want to like become.
Oh, big difference. He wants to have the privilege of declining.
Yeah.
We'll revisit this conversation. 20 years later, we'll revisit this conversation.
Yeah. Not settling down because of a gown for sure. Like I think the calling is much higher.
Yeah.
The object is much bigger.
Yeah.
But that's for another podcast actually.
Suppose. But this has been the most, as far as what I kind of see myself do in the future, I'm just interested, obviously, in furthering my litigation practice, which is it's an extension of just being a visiting professor at a law school. I think reading, writing, and teaching and or talking about law is essentially at any platform. You can do it from a classroom, you can do it in a courtroom, you can do it in a boardroom, you can do it in a podcast, you can do it heck even on Instagram, right? But the skills are very much the same. But I am more fascinated in this concept of internet law and really what it means to have boundaries over the internet. So I'm going to kind of examine that. So my growth is kind of T-shaped, right? I'm growing in terms of my breadth of practice, but also my legs are also deepening in one area. So that's what I'm interested in. And definitely I find that there will be people with a lot more diverse backgrounds. By the time we are old enough, maybe another 10, 15 years, by the time the next generation of law students and law schools have gone through these changes, we'll find the people, heck, we even may find an influencer.
I'm still not getting what do you want to become
I want to become.
after 10 years. See,
I want to become after 10
It's a good
years.
thing. He says he will be offered a judgeship and he will say, oh, I am very nice in my practice, and he will.
I just want to be known as the guy who you can go to for solving your internet law issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this.
Either as a judge or a lawyer, I can't tell. But even as a judge, there are some judges who are very good on certain aspects in certain areas, at least in Delhi.
Yep.
So they're regarded as frontiers or as leading examples. Of
Shakdar is considered as one for your company law.
Yeah, I mean, I won't take names, but there are definitely judges. So
Well,
that's what I want to be. I want to be a leading kind of name in that particular field. And yeah, I want to just be known as a nice guy. Yeah? What's wrong with a loving family? Just be a nice.
Well,
he's a nice bloke.
It was definitely.
You will become like it's. See, if I have to crystallize it,
Yeah.
you if you really want to become something, I have to have. There should be a position that really I'll take this post.
We'll
I'll
manufacture.
try my best.
We'll manufacture a position. Don't worry.
This was definitely a lot of introspection for me to reassess and recalibrate the way I've been trying to, like practice law, etc.
Chalo,
And,
I'll one more important thing. Since I'm coming from all the way from Jharkhand, I want to bring this. Delhi has a very paradise litigation practice. I'll justify why I said that. See, first thing, यहाँ पे in Delhi High Court, where you file a petition, you get a date in which you get case listed. And I think from filing date to a listing a case is not a very big struggle.
2 दिन.
It can
Those
stretch
in
up to
India.
a week, but with the defects.
And
But
here,
earliest 2 days.
compare you Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. It's a hell lot of work to get your case listed. It's not easily because first the pendency, then the process of defective way, clearing the defects, and then getting it listed, getting out of turn listed.
तो कितना टाइम लगता है?
Each it depends, like few depends on the time, depends on the judge's availability, depends on the section which they are dealing it. So it is taking time.
फिर भी कितना?
Like we have to see type, like whether it's civil side, criminal side.
हाँ, civil side
civil side it will take a month.
1 month.
और criminal?
Defect free. Criminal you can take 2 months.
2 months.
2 months
For a bail matter.
Yeah,
the guy's already in jail. 2 महीने तो automatically extend हो गया उसका custody.
Now this is
2 महीने में तो default bail का provision activate हो जाता है भैया.
So यहाँ पे this is what we as a young lawyer, जब आपको case मिलता है ना, it's a very first case if you're getting an anticipatory bail. And anticipatory bail में case क्या होता है? He district court से reject हो जाता है. Now he had to urgently get listed before the high court or get a stay order. Otherwise वो तो arrest हो गया, तो you the whole point of why he will pay you जब तुमने उसको जेल में डाल दिया तो.
And 2 महीने तो अगर लिस्टिंग में लग गया तो फिर तो 2 महीने तो फिर वहीं उनको लीव मिल गया to arrest.
It's 1 month anticipatory bail.
So Prem, but I mean,
so that's why we our struggle is compared different from you, very different.
That's so true. I've never really thought.
That's why we can't command. See, आप फाइल करोगे.
माफी मालिक, मैं ऐसा कुछ नहीं कह रहा था.
आप एंटिसिपेटरी बेल फाइल करोगे, it will get listed by 2-3-5 days. And if depending on the case has merits, you will get a bail. Result, either it will be dismissed, either it will be allowed. What about us? Like for us, how will we charge a fees? Like अब भी तो लगेगा, and we can command our fees. कि मैं 5 दिन में लगा लेता तो I could have charged a lot of money. अरे मैं bail तो 100% करा कर दे दूंगा आपका. Give me this much of money. And obviously because you will perform, you will get a relief. So you can charge the amount. But यहाँ पे तो listing में ही struggle है. So what will we do? हम तो filing का पैसा ही लेके बैठे हैं.
I think I definitely visit Jharkhand and see what things are like.
We should revolutionize the listing in all courts. Honestly, this needs to be a central mechanism. Delhi High Court has a super and we are quite lucky. But like now,
and one more thing, if he has a settled schedule, कि इस दिन एक केस ये लगे, इस दिन केस है, he can also go to the other states for working. So he can also वहाँ से भी बाहर से भी काम कर सकते. For us, will be like we are struggling to get our case listed. So यहाँ पे हम बहुत struggle कर रहे हैं.
फीस की आप तो तब बात करोगे जब लिस्टिंग और जब बहस की बात होगी.
फाइलिंग के पैसे से काम चलता है.
This is where like really like I really hope that the courts. Can I just make one concluding remark? Who finances the courts? It's the state governments.
Yeah.
What incentive does the state government have to incentivize faster filing of cases and settlement of disputes? Nothing. Why will the state government have an incentive on improving the judiciary?
From a myopic point of view, sure they don't. But if in the longer run, the faster your judiciary is, the faster your resolution process is, the more number of industries would want to set up. Yeah. It's the main reason why people set their arbitration seats to Singapore, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
the faster pace of resolution of disputes.
I mean,
but considering that the state is a litigant in more than half the cases, what is the incentive for a state to have a faster judiciary?
State is the highest litigator.
Yeah, what is the incentive for any state to have, let's say, an infrastructure backbone in Jharkhand, in Ranchi, in Raipur, in Patna?
What do they really want? I mean, do they want like Adani or Ambani to spell it out that in case you have a poor dispute resolution process, we will not be setting up industries over here? Like, that's the kind of
the enforcement of a contract and how you can enforce a contract is actually depending on the rule of law and the strength of rule of law in your local jurisdiction.
Yes.
And sadly, like, unless we speak about these issues,
you talk about contracts, and majority of the way corporates are doing contracts are now shifted to smart contracts or blockchain-based contracts, because of the mere fact that the ease of executing them, the ease of modifying them is far more flexible in terms of a smart contract than a normal contract which was executed on a stamp paper a couple of years ago.
Be that as may be, my point is that like these are very real issues that we sitting in Delhi can't really fathom in different places.
But definitely have the privilege to take it up and do something about it.
I mean, considering you're operating in legal tech,
to your client.
Considering you're operating in legal tech, I feel the ball is entirely in your court, Anshul.
Let's definitely look forward to something like that, and I'm sure like even the smallest effort of setting up an inter-court coordination committee, which is already there in India.
It's the Supreme Court IT infrastructure. Information Technology Committee.
Yes, headed by Justice Chandrachud right now.
Yeah.
Let me look it up and see what sort of efforts are being made. And in
Next
case,
podcast.
well, that was definitely a lot of introspection for me. Like I pointed out, I hope that there was something for you on some level for yourself as well.
Definitely an enriching experience learning from Prem. Definitely. Thanks a lot for coming and
Yeah,
really sensitizing us to the issues.
Yeah, we had Prem coming up and telling us about the experience that he gets from Jharkhand, and I'm sure like a lot of things that apply over here don't apply over there because
Yeah.
of the fact कि scene ही अलग है boss. And we had you, and it was really good having you, eloquent as ever, and clearly adding a lot to the conversation than one can anticipate in advance. And I hope that it is introspective for you also on a certain level. If you're a lawyer, if you're a senior advocate who's watching this, or if you're a judge who is watching this, or if you're just a law student, navigating waters will always be tough because that's what navigating waters is. With that, let's call it adjourn and hope that you like, share, subscribe, whatever is appearing on the screen right now. Check out our other podcast. We are almost 20 down the line, and we are almost about to touch 10,000 followers on Instagram, and also touching Apple Podcasts and Spotify in the month of February. So do let us know and stay tuned. Adjourn.
Wow, what does want to do? Shit. You don't have padding, otherwise they will just your neighbors will wonder